Avoid these 5 kayak fishing mistakes if you want to have the best time out on the water in your kayak fishing. Let's go. So first off, you want to make sure you pick the right kayak, especially if you're going to be using it for fishing. But we're going to talk about that next. If you guys want to get into kayak fishing, one of the most important things you're going to need for it is going to be a way to transport your kayak. Right here on my car, I've got this here Malone Versa rail, and I've got the Malone foldways, and it's very easy to just get your kayak up there on your car and then transport it wherever you're gonna go fishing. Or if you have a pickup truck, you can put it in the bed of your truck. So that right there is one of the most important things that you need if you wanna get into kayak fishing. So now let's talk about kayaks. 2 of the most common types of kayaks are sit on top kayaks and sit inside kayaks. The one that I've got right here is a sit on top kayak, and this is the one that I would recommend you guys to get, especially if you're looking for your first kayak. This one right here is a Lifetime Teton Angler 100, and it is a 10-foot long kayak, and it's got rod holders built in. It's got a very comfortable seat on it, and overall it's very lightweight and very convenient to transport around. So that's a great kayak, especially if you want to get into kayak fishing, and it's very cost effective at about like $400 or $500. Depends. You can get it on a good sale usually for about 300 something. So that's a great first time kayak. But enough of that. You guys are going to want to get a sit on top kayak. You can get a sit inside kayak, but they just don't do the best when it comes to kayak fishing. It's a lot harder to land fish. They aren't as stable, they aren't as comfortable. There's just a lot of cons to it. I'm sure there's some pros to it. In my experience, the sit on top kayaks are the way to go. So if you guys do get your first kayak or you're looking to upgrade, get a sit on top kayak. And this one right here is a great option. Just make sure it has a comfortable seat like this one. Ooh, there's fish jumping out there. I might have to do some casts. Just make sure you guys pick the right kayak. Sit on top kayak with a comfortable seat and rod holders. Also, make sure you grab a kayak with rails, because then you can actually accessorize it. Like I've got this guy right here that actually holds my paddle. I can just set it in there very easily. Let's move on to number 3. You guys need to avoid not checking the weather before you go out on the kayak. And I actually didn't check the weather before I came to make this video, and it's looking like it might rain. Hopefully it doesn't, but it's looking like it's not really in our favor today. Sometimes if you don't check the weather, you'll get hit with either, rain. It could be extremely windy out, and then you'll have a really fun time out on the kayak fishing. Don't go out kayaking when it's really windy. Not a fun time. Always check the weather before you go out on the kayak fishing. Make sure you guys go prepared when you're going out on your kayak. First off, you're going to want a PFD. So right here is my life jacket personally. Oh, there goes the sunscreen that you guys are gonna wanna use when you're out fishing. Since it tried to get away, sunscreen. Bring sunscreen, especially if it's gonna be sunny out and hot, because you wanna make sure you don't burn your skin off. This right here is an Onyx PFD, and I've had this one pretty much ever since I've gotten my kayak. It's a great option because it has tons of storage in there for different things when it comes to kayak fishing. You've got a little pouch here with a zipper on it, another little pouch here for other things like wallet, keys, whatever it might be. And then it's got the high back here. So it's got this mesh part right down on the bottom. So that way when you are sitting, it's gonna be up above your backrest. So that's another quick tip. Get a nice PFD like this one. I'll make sure to throw links in the description for all the products that I'm talking about today, just in case you want to check them out or grab some of them. But this Onyx fishing life vest is great, and I love it so far. So next up, don't make this mistake, because I have already. Make sure you guys get a waterproof phone case right here. This is going to save your phone. It floats and water can't get inside of it. I was actually out on my kayak probably a couple months ago, and my phone slipped out of my pocket, and you know what? It's still at the bottom of the lake. So had to get a new phone, grabbed one of these because I don't want it to happen again. This one right here is by Pelican, good quality. Another thing that's gonna be very helpful from a kayak, a fishing net. This one's by KastKing, and it's gonna be very easy to use this one because I can just unfold it like this. Let's see if we can get it. Boom, look at that, unfolded. It's a very good size actually. And then you can actually extend it too. And it's a good size for like largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, even some pike, catfish, and muskie, that type of stuff, as long as they aren't too big. That's gonna make it a heck of a lot easier to land those fish from the kayak. If you catch a toothy critter, it's gonna be difficult to land them, especially if you gotta grab them by the gills or you've got treble hooks in their mouth. Trust me. Moving on to the next essential thing you're gonna want when you're out kayak fishing is a way to store your gear. I've got this backpack here by KastKing, one of my favorite backpacks, and I love this thing so far. It holds a lot of stuff, and that is the great thing about it. So make sure you guys have something to carry your tackle around in. It's gonna help a lot. All you gotta do really is throw your backpack in the back of your kayak here, bungee it down, and you're good to go. And the last thing you're gonna want is a drink when you're out on the kayak fishing. Trust me, stay hydrated, guys. On to the next thing that you need to avoid. And my last tip when it comes to kayak fishing is don't be too confident out on the water, especially if you don't know what you're doing. If it's your first time out kayak fishing or you don't go out kayak fishing a lot, just be safe, respect the water that you're in, and respect the fish. Because you know what, those fish can give you a tough time, especially when you're out on the kayak. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already, because we do tons of kayak fishing on this channel, and I want you guys to join me on the journey. I'll see you in the next video.